Good morning, everybody. Hubby here with Just About Anything Garage. I want to welcome you to the video. I hope you guys are having a great day already. It's November 8th. It's after Election Day, and I'm disappointed, but that's all I'm going to say. I think America made the wrong choice, but I guess we'll find out. Anyways, we made the right choice because we're moving on to get the C30 project done. This is the intro video to that. So what do you say we get started? All right, so where are we at with the C30? Well, it's kind of buried because we moved stuff around, right, to go ahead and get that Corvette over there. You might be able to see through the rack. All done. Well, not all done, but into the stage where we wanted it for the video series that we just finished up on that. But anyways, we're going to get started on this. And of course, first thing we'll do is we'll clear all this stuff out so we have a clear place to work. If you remember, we got her running. We got the basic frame repairs done on it, so we're ready to go ahead and get the rollback portion, which is going to be primarily done here. We got to get the tilt bed mechanism go ahead and built, and then we've got to go ahead and we've got to get the bed built for this and put on. So that's what we're going to do in this video series. We're going to work on getting that done. We also pulled the cab, this other cab that we got for the project. When I first saw it and I went and talked to guys, the same guy who sold me the C30, for the project, I thought this was in better shape, but upon looking at it, it has sections that are better and then it has sections that are, well, not better. And I think overall what we're looking at here is a parts cab, which I ended up paying way too much for, but we won't do that. We do need the windshield. We got other glass that we can use. It's got other parts inside that are good that we can confiscate from it and transplant. So that's what we'll probably use this for, is a transplant piece for that, pulling parts off of it to utilize in the C30 project. So what is the plan? Well, the plan first off here is to get the back of the frame set up to go ahead and receive the tilt back mechanism. And that what that basically means is, in this section here where you see the rod coming through and these frame rails, they're going to get excuse me again, boxed off. So we're going to box this section off. We're going to put, I think it's 2-inch pipe with a 1/4 inch, so it'll be like what, 1 in, or right around 2-inch on the interior, and then we're going to run a big metal solid tube that everything's going to rotate on in the center here. So you're going to see big bushings, we'll call them big bushings, that we're going to put and install in here. And then we're going to just, it's going to be a simple rail. It's about 5 feet long. We're going to use 4 by 2 inch. We're going to put rollers at the top of the long arms. We're going to secure to the tilt frame itself our hydraulics that come out, and then this end down here attached just behind the frame rails onto the bed. To slide the bed, we'll have the lift arms. If you've been following this project, you saw us do the math and set all that up. So that's what we're going to do, but we're going to focus on getting the tilt mechanism done first. Once the tilt mechanism is done, we'll go ahead and we'll get the bed all laid out and done. We're going to get that all set and make sure everything is correct. And that'll probably end up being 2 videos right there, right? Because we'll do the tilt mechanism separately, and then we'll do the bed construction separately. Once we get that all set up and ready to go, what we'll probably do is, we're not going to pull the cab off just yet. What we're going to do is we'll probably come in here, we'll probably yank this out, get this section cleared so we can clean it up a little bit. The reason I'm leaving the cab and all the bodywork on it initially, before we lift it off and get everything clean there, is that we're going to come over here and we're going to, this is a brand new motor. I've had it for about 20 years. It never got used, but it sat. So we're going to blow it apart, at least down to the rotating assembly. Make sure everything is kosher, clean everything up, put it back together with fresh gaskets and everything. We're going to use this iron intake. We'll use the ram horn exhaust units for it. We're going to couple it to this transmission because it's got a PTO and a pump on it. We'll go ahead and we'll then drop that in. Once we pull that out and we clean that up a little bit, we'll hook it up so that we can get the hydraulics hooked up so that we can test everything. We'll go ahead and we'll test everything, make sure everything's functioning the way that we want it to function. If we have to make changes, we'll go ahead and we'll make changes to it. And once we have it fundamentally working the way that we want to have it, then what we'll do is we'll start to pull the cab off and all the body parts off. We'll clean that all up and get that ready to go. We'll paint the frame because we'll have access to it. If we have to pull the motor and tranny out, again, to do that we will. We'll do this several times if we have to. And then what we want to do is we want to start to work on the suspension upgrades. Because if we can find a kit for a C30, we want to make the fronts disc brakes, right? And go to it. We've already got power to it with a single. We'll set it up to a double. We'll portion it off. We'll leave the drums in the back because we're going to use this rear end, although we're going to rebuild the rear end. We're going to use this. We might add an air kit to it that stretches from the frame rails down to here, just to give us additional lift if we ever need to have it. It's not there to supplement. This thing should, on its very own, do about 9,000 to 10,000 pounds. You should be able to load it and it should be fine. So we're going to go from there. But that's the direction we're moving in. This is our kickoff intro into this. And stay on tuned and we'll have more that we will put onto this. And we'll get this thing cranking. All right, so we'll see you here shortly. All right, so as you can see, we've cleaned up the area and we can actually work now. We moved things out of the way over to here. So we'll be doing juggling, no doubt. But now what we want to do is we want to get some measurements done, okay? So here's where we stand with our measurements, basically. And I've got a drawing here that I've done. Let me go ahead and show you guys of what the things are going to go look like. But let's go look at the frame real quick and excuse me, see what we got. So here are the base frame rails, right? They're outside here. We've got a total distance. Let me go ahead and put the tape measure on it. They're about 34 inches wide. You can see right about here, right around 34. Now the lines that I drew here, you can see that black line right there, and there's another black line right here. Well, that's where the outside edges of the tilt mechanism are going to end up lining up. These are 2 inches wide. I'll show you here, 29 to 31 inches, 2 inches wide. Then what we basically have is we're measuring the inside of this because we're going to box the inside of these rails, right? Right here, we're going to use, we'll use 1/8 to box it with all the way around and weld everything nice and solid. Now these holes right here that we're going to have, what we're going to do is we're going to use hollow tube that'll go from this box plate over to this plate. We'll cut the holes in it and weld them in, and they're going to have a let's see, 1.5 inch outside diameter and a 1 inch inside diameter. So we'll use a big 1 inch solid rod that'll go through it, that'll act as the pinion shaft, like you see here, that the mechanism will ride on. And they'll be supported on both sides with the weight pushing down on the frame from that, okay? And then what we're going to end up with, as I originally said, they're going to be 5 foot long sliders, but we're going to actually make them 6 foot long, and they'll come right about to here, so they're going to have lots of support on that mechanism. So let's go ahead and look at the drawing real quick of what we did. All right, so here's a top-down view of what it looks like. And so basically you got your 2 side rails that go down like this, that are 6 feet long. We'll have a back bracing here. We'll have a center bracing piece and a front bracing piece. Okay, so when you look at that, this one will probably be, this one on this end will probably be on the bottom of the 2x4 rails that we're going to put. This one will be more or less in the center, and I'm talking vertically along the 4 inch distance here. So it lines up with, these are the 2 hydraulic rams that we're going to use to push it. It's going to be secured against that. We'll put a gusset plate right here, as you can see, drawn at an angle and a straight piss out. That'll probably be like a 1/4 inch plate. It'll brace right in the middle, so it's going to be very hard to bend once you push on it. Now it's all sliding on rollers because we put rollers on the top of these, so it's just going to have the downwards weight. So it's like rolling a car. It's like a winch when it's pulling a car. It really doesn't have to pull that hard. And then on the front ones, these will be mounted low on the bottom side, so that these rails ride up, and then we'll connect to the bed with these little circulars here. If you look at it from the side, if you look at side on, here's the rails. Here's where the couplers are in line. Here's the piece that drops down with the circle tube for the 1-inch pins to ride in. And then these are bracings that'll come up into the middle at that angle. And then this is head-on. If you're looking at it head-on, here are your 2 rams. Here are the bracing bars that come in. Here's the plate, and then the circular piece down here that goes and it fits onto that. All right, so that's what we're looking at. Now, when we hook the hydraulics up, this is what we're looking at for the hydraulics. We're going to use what's called a DCV, a directional control valve. It's a 3-way valve for the hydraulics, and you have a pump in and a tank out, and you have an A port and a B port. Okay, so the A port goes to the, well, you can reverse them if you want, but it goes to the push side, and the B port goes to the pull side. So what we'll do, since we have 2 cylinders, cylinder 1 and cylinder 2, is we'll use a 2-port manifold. We'll come in on the A sides together, run one big line to the A port on the control valve, and do the same thing with the B's for the B port. So when you push the lever forward to the A position, it'll extend the ramp outwards, right? And what happens is it connects P to A, and it connects B to T. So pressurized liquid goes in here and pushes the rams out. The liquid that's on the B side will come through here and flow back to the tank. And then when you go the other way, you push it to B, it pulls it out, and it connects P to B and A to T, and reverses the flow directions and pulls the back. So this is how we'll do the hydraulic setup with that. The only question is, do we get one that has a P to T port in the neutral position, so we don't have to put a bypass valve on the pump? Because that pump will be turning, trying to build pressure. If we use a P to T port in the neutral position, it'll just circulate until you move it and do it. So you won't have to put a bypass on the pump, but you can do it either way with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to order up a bunch of steel to get these ordered, and we'll do real finite. I'll use a meter stick actually with tight granulations to do the measurements, because what we're going to have when we do it is about a 1/16 of an inch clearance between the edge of the support of the 4-inch rail that'll sit here between each of the sides, so that we have most of the support coming all right here. I mean, it'll be a 1/16 of away from the frame, so it should not bend at all. I mean, it should support it very, very strongly. And if we think that we're going to get into an issue, we can brace the bottom and put a post here so it transfers the weight across instead of it being free aired. But we'll see how that goes with that. But we're going to go ahead and get the materials to go and get that done, and we'll start laying it out. We're going to have to go through a process to put the rollers in, and I'll give you, I think I've worked the process out on how to do the rollers. So I'm going to draw that up like I've done here first on what we have to do, because when we get the 4x2s here, they're hollow. We're going to have to end up cutting the very top off of it and then drilling precise holes and tapping one side. And these are 1/4 inch, I believe, no, 1/8 inch, each inch or 1/4. I'll have to go check. It's at least an 1/8 inch. That we can have bolts on the inside, but we can't have them. It's got to be flush on the outside, because the channels will come and ride like that. So what we'll do is we'll countersink for the screws to go in there, and then we'll, if we can, if it's thick enough, we'll just go right in here and tap this, and then we'll use locking thread to make sure that they don't come out. If not, we'll use nylocks on the back with the nuts on the top to lock it in. But these will be all rollered right across the top. At 6 feet, we'll put one every 6 inches, so we'll have 10 of them on each side that will support it. Each can support 500 pounds, so there'll be 5,000 pounds for a rail, for a total of 10,000 pounds that the slide can support on that. So that's where we're at right now. I will come back in once I've figured out the total process. We'll run you through the steps of the process with the materials, and then we'll show you and build them. So hang tight, we'll be right back. Man, it's cold this morning, so we're back out. We're working on the C30, but we've had some change of plans. Although it's gorgeous, gorgeous from the perspective it's sunny and nice. We've had our first snow though. As you can see, we got a dusting here up in Agawam. It's chilly, it's cold. You can hear my heater running in the shop. Anyways, we're back on the C30. Let's go ahead and close the door though. And we'll turn that heater off for a minute so you guys can hear me without the drone of that thing going on. And then we'll talk where we are. Okay, so that last segment you saw that we had drawn up so how we were going to do that tilting carriage. But if you've been watching my other videos, we've started a series on Big Bertha in here. We got Big Bertha in the shop, right? Because we're going to redo her. And as we were looking at her, we discovered just how freaking clean she really is. She really doesn't have a whole lot to be super reliable and super ready to go. So that's why we started to work on that. And we'll go ahead and we'll release a video on what we're doing there. But I also stopped and I did a behind the scenes video on some of the changes we were going to make. Because as I'm looking at that, this has got an 18-foot bed. It'll handle about 14,000 pounds. It'll carry, so it'll carry just about anything. And the design that we were going to do for the rollback on the C30, right? It was going to be limited to 9,000 to 10,000 pounds, 16-foot bed, and about 6.5 foot to 7-foot width. So I'm sitting here thinking, going, you know what? Why are we turning her into a rollback when we also need to do a custom tow vehicle with it? Maybe it's better that we go ahead and we just make this the custom tow vehicle. We use Big Bertha as our major rollback carrier, which is what she was intended to be. We were kind of trying to go for the cool factor with the 64, and it still is cool. It still would be cool to have that as a rollback, but it's going to be extremely limited. You're limited to like Corvette size and Camaro size and that stuff. You're not going to take another pickup on the back of it if you want to do that. You're not going to take some of the larger, like the Imperial wouldn't fit on the back of this. I couldn't pull that around, but she'll fit on the back of that, on the back of her. So I guess what I'm saying here is we're going to go ahead and we're going to change up, and we're going to go ahead and do the C30 as our main tow haul vehicle. We're going to put a bed on it for hauling. We're going to go ahead and put a tow plate on the back of it for towing. We're going to do some special features to it. You know, we're going to design some stuff into it to make it cool. But I don't think it's really going to work out for the capacity of C60. Oh, C60 with this extended long would work perfect for a rollback. But I think what we're going to do with the C30 is we're going to switch over. We're going to make her our custom tow haul vehicle. And start that. So I'm going to end this particular video with this, where we went through a couple of things that we're going to do. You can see all my steam coming off of me like that. I can see it fogging on that thing. So let's stay over here. We're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to end the video. Like I was saying, we're going to end the video right here for that section. Then we'll release the next one where we're doing the haul stuff rather than the rollback stuff on the C30. So I hope you guys don't consider it a bait and switch. It wasn't my intentions, but it just makes a lot more sense, I think, to do this as a tow haul vehicle. We're still going to put the 350. We're still going to do what we said on that. We're going to bust it apart and get it cleaned up. We're still going to put the 4-speed transmission in it. We'll still have the PTO on it, although we may hook it so it's electronically controlled and not controlled from a PTO off of the transmission. And we'll talk about it as we're going forward, because there's going to be some hydraulics still on the tow haul vehicle. We're going to do a couple special things with it for that, and some other features. And we're going to make it comfortable inside so it can drive. It probably will. We had discussed this before. We want to be able to cruise with it too, so we'll probably put a gear vendor on it in order to get some gear splitting and some final overdrive on this thing to kick the RPMs down when we're going. But anyways, that's the direction we're moving in. We appreciate you watching the video. Thanks for watching, and watch for the next one to come up in the series. We're just doing a little swap over here, and we're going to focus on this one as a tow haul versus a rollback. All right, guys, we'll see you real soon. Do all that jazz for me. I would appreciate it. And keep watching, because we're going to have the next C30 one come out, and we'll be working on the tow haul stuff, the stuff that we need to do. And the first thing we're going to do on that is the tow plate. We're going to get all that set up. Then we'll do the deck for all that. Then we'll get the engine and everything set up, and we'll get the interior done, and we'll get the bodywork done, and we'll just turn her into a nice tow hauler with some really cool features, including the ability to do fifth wheel, pull just about any trailer we want. Calculations that I made says we should probably be able to pull about 32,000 pounds, so about 15 tons, 16 tons with this. and it should work out just great. Anyways, thanks a lot. Again, thanks for watching. We appreciate you guys, and we'll be back with more real soon.